But anyways. Okay, for all you guys listening, basically what we're going to be doing today is me and Isar have spent the last few days kind of sifting through the last year and thinking about not in any like New Year's revolutions, I guess, way, but 3 themes each that stick out to us in areas that we actually want to improve upon going into this year. So he has 3, I have 3. We're pretty much going to go through them. And I'm actually really looking forward to this.
Yeah,
I
me too.
put a good amount of time in just thinking about the last year. And also, I guess I went back to high school a little bit with some of these and thinking about, okay, where are we continuously not reaching our goals?
Yeah, mine are a little bit about like obviously before from like high school because that was like a big part of me, and then also like a little bit leading into the year. So like one of mine is about like what I want to see out of this year and what I could do better. But yeah, I think we can get into it.
Yeah, man. Well, when are you going to be 20?
July, end of July.
Oh,
July
damn.
26th.
So you're young.
So-
You're young. But, dude, like, I mean, I just turned 20.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Damn, I'm in my 20s now. So this is
no longer
when,
a teenager.
I know this is when the stuff gets real. But do you wanna get us started?
Yeah, I'll start. So my like first theme was one that I think everyone's heard a lot, but it actually like it like sits very close with me. It was the 5 closest friends thing, and you're an average of you're like I'm sure you've obviously heard it, and a bunch of people listening have probably heard it too. Like you're an average of your 5 closest friends, and the reason I chose that is like one of my themes, like one of the things that like I've learned to live by is because in high school, I think me and Austin were like kind of the same. We were like, we floated around, dapped everyone up, but not necessarily like a core member of any friend group. And that kind of sucks, honestly. Like
It's good in some ways, but in other ways, it's not
good
the
during
greatest.
lunch when you go around and dap everyone up during lunch and like in the hallway. But then like when it's like after prom or it's like after something, like where are you supposed to go?
Yeah,
like,
man, that was me. I don't mean to cut you off, but I think we've actually talked about it. Like after homecoming, after our homecoming game, just nowhere to go, you know. And it's not in any like sad way, I guess, but like you were saying, I was just friends with everybody, but not best friends. Like just wasn't invited anywhere.
Yeah,
And it was fine, but
yeah, and
continue.
I even had like my 2 close friends, but like they were just friends with me, and then they had their own friend groups that were separate from each other. So then they just go hang out with them because everyone wants to hang out with like 10 people after prom or whatever. So like the reason that was like a big theme for me now, like looking back, is like coming to college, I didn't have that like giant friend group, and then obviously U of I, us being, even though we're like from Illinois, like it's such a big school. Like I have 30, 40 kids from my high school, but I could easily like not talk to any of them, and like
The school's so big.
yeah, you won't run into them that often.
We're in my garage, and
Yeah.
I guess someone just dropped off some garbage. Continue with what you're doing.
Yeah, so first semester of freshman year, I was kind of finding my friends, finding a good group of people. I found like one of my best friends who's my roommate next year. Shout out T-May.
Shout out Tamer.
And then like second semester is when I really found like my core group of friends, which is like Austin, and I'm sure you guys have heard like a third and like all our other friends. And throughout like second semester last year and like first semester this year, and even this summer when we went to California, like I really was able to see like these are like my best friends, and they have one, like their best interest is like they have my best interest in their mind. Like they want to see me succeed, they want to like help me, but then they also just want to, they're just like also there for me. And they make me better people, whether it's like in the classroom they're all succeeding, whether like they're working out, they have good habits, waking up early, still finding a balance with like going out, having fun. And like all of that has like taught me these are like guys I want to surround myself with. And I found like for the first time a friend group that like everyone talks about, and like I hadn't experienced it before. So it was something that's really shaped me and shaped like the last year of college for me.
How do you think that it has improved your life specifically?
Well, one, I think this podcast improves my life, and
Yeah.
that's from that. But then also like last year, this is like not in a competitive way or anything, but like last year me and Tanmay lived together, and it'd be like he's going to the gym, and like even if I didn't want to go to the gym, I was like, I can't just lay here in bed while he goes to the gym. Let me just get on the bus. Like we lived at Parfar, so you have to get on the bus. It's like a 15-minute ride or whatever. But I was like, let me just get on the bus and go to the gym with him. And just being around people who like are doing things like that is gonna make me do it too. Because like one, I might feel bad because like I'm a bum. I'm laying in bed and he's going to the gym to work out. Like I got to work out. And in the end, that's gonna help. Also with like study habits. Tanmay's an extremely smart person. Nav, honestly, everyone has good study habits. They put their grades at the top of their priority list, and that's something that was important to me in high school, and it's still pretty important to me. Maybe less, but that's for a different time.
Yeah.
And just being surrounded by people who like during finals week are like, yeah, no, I can't hang out. Like I have to study. It's like, it just reminds me like, yeah, I shouldn't be hanging out either. Like I should be studying also. Like I need to go to Granger. And like, I guess like all those good habits are just coming on to me as well. And that's something that is amazing to find if you can find it.
I know. It reminds me a little bit. I'm going to zoom out and then relate it back. So I went to my Notre Dame versus St. Pat's basketball game. For those of you guys who don't know, it's a huge rivalry game, right? So I'm watching these kids out there and competing, and I'm just like, damn, man. Like, I miss it so much. Not necessarily just the sport, but just the competition, right? And I think I had my brain working, and I'm like, I need to find ways to establish competition in my own life in college. Whether it's just with my friends, like, hey, whatever it may be, right? In the gym, like put in 135 on the bar and whoever can do the most amount of reps, just stuff like that. That just gets you going on a day-to-day basis, whether it's the small ones, the day-to-days, or whether it's the more, okay, who can like get the best job out of college, whatever it may be, and that type of stuff. But yeah, being surrounded with the people that we're surrounded with is great.
Yeah, it's friendly competition. Like no one's there to actually like beat the other person out, but it's like everyone's got that little competition mindset and still wants everyone's best, like the best for everyone. And that's honestly what makes it great.
Exactly. Well, I'll go to my first one now. And for this, I'm actually reading a book on it right now. So I'm actually just going to say the tagline of the book. And you can almost probably guess what my first one would have been just off of what I talk about a lot. Less, but better. I think about me in high school a lot, right? And I'm just saying this for context. I'm not saying this and I've had conversations with you about this. High school, I was third ranked in my class. I was on the varsity baseball team, varsity bowling team. Third is like, it's cool, right? But you're not salutatorian, you're not valedictorian.
Right.
And because I was putting all of my time in so many different areas, I was good in all of them, but not great in one. And I don't regret it. But you just kind of think, what if, right? Like if I fully went on baseball, could I have gone D1? Who knows? Like if I fully went on academics, could I have got into the schools I didn't get into? And don't regret it all because balance is really important, right? But getting to this age at 20, later in college, this is the time when you should start to think about specializing and not go through the cycle of 3 months of this, give up. 3 months of this, give up. 3 months of this, give up. Earlier, it might have been good because once you dabble in a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you gain experience and you have a holistic understanding of everything. But we sit across from these kids like Grayson, like Austin. I talk about this all the time. Grayson, Austin, Aiden, and you think, okay, what if Grayson quit after year 1? You hear Aiden say, oh, it wasn't until year 3 that this happened. You hear Casper say, man, I did this for every single day for years until I made my first sale. And it makes you and me think, man, like, what if we quit now and we never got to see what this actually could have become? And that's one thing that I really want to focus on this year is locking in on this, maybe locking in on fitness, and then that's it. Obviously school is important as well. But be purposeful with where I'm placing my energy. And when somebody asks, hey, do you want to do this? Don't see distractions as opportunities.
Yeah. Do you think it's been easier to specialize? Is specialize the right word? Or do you think it's been easier for you to put your time in like only a couple things now than it was in high school? Like now looking back on high school.
Yeah, just because I'm aware that it's one of my flaws.
Okay.
You know, I don't think that it's necessarily easier because of the environment around me. Whenever you're surrounded by a bunch of other kids doing different things, sometimes you could think, hey, like, I can be better than them at this. And then
Yeah.
there's a little bit of, I mean, the competition that we were talking about comes about, and you want to be better, but if you stop playing the game you're playing, then you lost automatically, even if you
Right.
won at a different game, you know? And with what you were asking, now that I've realized that it's one of my flaws that I always do, it's easier when I'm self-aware. It's easier just because I'm more self-aware about it.
Yeah. I think the deal with high school with a lot of people kind of doing everything is because so in high school, like most people's goal is to get into a great college. Like you're not really looking that much further ahead into the future. And when we look at like kids who get into great schools, it's like, oh, they were on the basketball team, they were on the baseball team, they were on the chess team,
Exactly.
straight A's. They had like 20 different
They
things.
opened their own nonprofit.
Yeah,
and it's just
they
like,
had-
how did you have time for this?
They had like 150 volunteer hours, all while getting an A in every single class and every teacher loving them. And that's why, like, it's what you said. Everyone's playing the same game, and like you have to play it.
That's a good point.
And now I think in college, everyone's playing their own game, and it's you. We've talked about this like in the past of like writing your own story. It's like you writing your story, and that's all kind of based on like the game that you choose to play. If you choose to play the game of like I'm gonna do really well in class, do really well in a couple clubs that are prestigious or whatever, you're kind of playing the corporate game, which is fine if that's what you're going for. Like if you're trying to play a different game where
If
it's
you're trying
like,
to play the entrepreneurship game,
whatever it might be, yeah.
then maybe you sacrifice all your grades and just do all C's all throughout college, but you have a business that made X amount of money.
Right.
And just got to choose the game you want to play and stick with it, and don't leave the
Exactly.
table because someone behind you's all happy at the table they're playing at theirs.
Exactly.
So you want to go to your second one now?
Yeah. So this was something that I was talking to my friends about over this past break. And it was about shaking things up and doing things out of the ordinary. I think I've done that a little bit with this podcast. I can't see myself ever saying I would want to have a podcast or any of that in high school. But I want to do that more. I think so but when I say I want to do that more, I don't necessarily mean I want to like take a bunch of like leadership roles and like do all that, because I know that's not going to go well. But what I mean, like, try new things, whether that be going on the cold plunges with you more often, going out to like Luke's thing more often, whatever it might be, just to like meet more people that like the majority of like U of I students aren't doing. Just because I feel like that's the only way you can kind of see what else is out there. Cause,
Yeah, is it kind of like being spontaneous with your Friday nights,
Right.
not with your Monday through Friday?
Yeah, because I mean, that's a great way to put it. Because like Friday night, the majority of people just going out and having fun. This semester, based on my academic schedule, probably not going to happen that often. So I might as well try to look for other things that I can do on my Friday night that in the end will provide me with more value than going out to camps on a Friday night.
Yeah. See,
So yeah.
what are some things that you want to do?
Um,
And the thing with being spontaneous is a lot of times you can't predict it.
yeah,
right?
it's
So,
just got to like come up. But I don't know. That I think I got to think about that a little more. But it's
you got to come to one of Jose's studio sessions with me.
yeah, whatever it is, or like
Stuff like that.
like Reesh is like in the past said like come make music with me. Like he doesn't really go out that often. Pick a Friday night, hang out with him, just make music, or just hang out with your friends, go to the Arc, do something like that, and then yeah.
I know exactly what you mean, and my second one's actually a similar theme. But yeah, I think about that a lot too. Being spontaneous with just a one-time thing, you know. Hey, Luke just texted me about this indie band coming to play on like some random Thursday night. Yeah, I'll go. It's a one-time thing, and I think when I said the less but better thing, you could kind of confuse those two, right? Because it's like you want to say yes more to like go out on like these random like one-night things, but you don't want to say yes to those commitments. The like, okay, I need to constantly be doing this, and I need to be on call to like any responsibility I may have.
Yeah.
So I think about that a lot too.
Yeah.
I will.
It's kind of about like taking. It's similar to like when people say like take every opportunity you get, but it's this I guess more refined into like when you have nothing to do on a Friday night, like do something other than going out.
Yeah, man. That's actually really similar to my second one, and the quote that I always have in the back of my head with it is, backpacking through Europe at 33 probably won't have the same kick. And what I mean by that, right? Because like hear that like, huh? But there's this one story, and I might butcher it just because it's not. I'm repeating a story that I had heard. But this one guy gets out of college. He's 22. He has an investment banking job lined up. Him and his friends do. And one of his friends approaches him, and he's like, "Hey, we're all about to go backpacking through Europe." He's like, "Do you want to come?" He's like, "Yeah, of course. But like, how are we gonna get off work?" And he's like, "Well, we'll ask for the 6 month off. If we don't get it, we'll just quit, and then we'll like have a job when we come back home. We'll find something." It's like, what are you, crazy? Like,
Yeah.
We're not gonna just sacrifice everything that we always did. So they go backpacking through Europe, have the time of their lives. The guy comes back, asks them like, "Hey, how was it?" And they're like, "Damn, like I can't even put into words. We slept on the beach this night. We did this, like we did all these crazy things, right?" And he's like, "Oh, like that must have been fun, but like whatever. Like I have this job now." And some years pass, and when he ends up being 33, he's like, I'm gonna go try this, right? Goes and does it, but alone at 33, staying in hostels, sleeping on the ground, it doesn't have the same kick to it, right? And you're not with the people, with the people that like you love. And I guess the like theme of that, the more abstract theme, is there's different seasons of your life when you should do different things, right? We're in college. There are many things that we're not gonna have the opportunity to do later, right? So yeah, making money, like this, all of this more like work hard things are important, but at the same time, kind of gotta loosen up a little bit, It reminds me of last summer. I was in Montana with some friends, and we had talked about before I was going on it. I was working on some like social media marketing agency, like at the time, and I'm in Montana, beautiful mountains. It was just a great time. But my friends stayed up late pretty much every night, like just talking, whatever. We're in Montana, like on vacation, having a great time. And I would go to sleep early every night, wake up early, and then design websites like the whole morning. And I reflected on it a couple months after, and I'm like, damn, man, I wish I was more present for that. That is going to be one of my core memories, one of the things that I'm going to look back on when I'm older. I'm like, that was such a good time, and I'm glad I did it. And I wasn't as present as I wanted to be, And in this 4 years of us being in college, there are so many things that I am only going to have the opportunity to do now. Like, there's only so many times in your life you're going to be within a mile radius of so many of your best friends. And if it's a Friday or like even a Tuesday, and like maybe I have this assignment to do, just go out, like have some fun with them. Like whether it's just go play basketball at the Arc, whatever it may be. I don't want to look back and regret not doing the things that having that window of opportunity close.
Yeah. In 30 years, you're not gonna remember the C you got because you went out with your friends to go like do something crazy, but you are gonna remember the experience and the gain you got from going out with them that resulted in the C. So
Exactly. And I mean, I guess how that turns into an actionable is, I mean, you could probably see this, like whenever we go out, like it's hard for me to really enjoy it. Like
yeah.
I just want to be doing other stuff, frankly. And maybe a part of that's who I am, but also a part of it could be how would I put that? Maybe a part of it is just who I am fundamentally, but a part of it also might be who I'm trying to convince myself to be,
Yeah.
And just kind of like taking a deep breath, looking around me and being like, I'm only going to have this opportunity so many times. Let's just breathe and have a good time and have fun, because this is what you're going to remember.
Yeah, that's a good one. Live in the present.
I got to be better at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But you got your third and final one?
Yeah. Thinking about it, I kind of want to. This might be like a bigger one, but It's more about just like being myself. I feel like in the past I've always like looked at people, and this is fine to have a role model, but I've like looked at a role model and I've wanted to like do whatever they've done because they're already at like that position, and it's like, all right, so they've done this, that's what I need to do. But I've noticed in like this past semester that like if I'm doing what I want, I've just been so content with like where I am in the present. And this goes back to, I guess, living in the present a little bit, that like in the future I'm not worried that I'll get to where I want, cuz like in the end I'm still like going towards those goals, whether that be like work related, like getting an internship or a job, or whether it be like fitness related, benching 225, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need to do what everyone else is doing. Like I just need to do myself.
Where do you see that
Like
in your own life?
what do you mean?
What are some things you do that you think, when you look back on it, you're like, maybe I don't really want to do that, or I don't want to do this as much as this,
Yeah.
but I'm doing it through conformity?
Rushing a business frat. Um,
Yeah.
Like it's cool, but I only did it because like everyone who was getting a good job was in it. And I'm not saying it doesn't help me, but I didn't need to do it. And the sole reason I did it was because everyone else was doing it. And I thought it was the right step to do. And I'm sure I'd be in the same place now with the same internship that I have lined up, even if I wasn't in it. They probably made it a little bit easier, but I think like that's a big thing. Fitness related, I was like following my friends who had been working out for a really long time, but like their schedule just doesn't work with mine. Like I can't go there for 4 hours every day, and like I can't eat chicken breast and rice and just drink Fairlife all the time. Like I got to go out with my dad, enjoy a Five Guys burger every now and then. Like that's like me and my dad's thing. We love Five Guys. Like I got it. Like how many times am I gonna get to? Okay, I will have a lot of times hopefully, but like I want to enjoy that Five Guys burger with my dad because like I love.
Well, I
that.
mean,
so
you said like how many times, but when you really think about it, man, we are not home 9 months of the year.
I know. So.
And then when we get out of college, I mean, okay, over the summer, you're living in Boston or Cincinnati, right? Yeah, so you're not going to be home over the summer either. And then we think about when we get out of college,
like 2 months.
what if you end up working in the Bay or Seattle?
Yeah. So
I think there's some statistic where you see your family 95%, like 95% of the interactions with your family are in your first 18 years of life.
Damn.
Well, I mean, think about it.
It makes sense. Yeah, you're spending every single day.
It's definitely a
for the
higher
first 18
percentage.
years.
I may have just butchered it, but I mean, it remains true. And like,
Yeah.
there's only so many times now.
Yeah. So, like, bringing that back to, like, my thing of, like, be yourself, everyone else is taken. Like, it's just, I got to do what I want to do and the things that make me happy and the things I'm gaining the most value from, rather than looking at someone who's in a position that I want to be in 30 years and following everything they did. Because they may have made that path themselves, or they may have followed someone else who's like 6 years older than me. But whatever it might be, it goes back to living in the present. You got to enjoy like everything that you have. Take none of it for granted, because in the end, you're probably going to end up in the same place, because people have their goals. And as long as you're somewhat on track, I think you'll be fine. You just got to make sure you do everything that you want to do in the moment.
Yeah. When you were saying that, it reminded me back to what we were talking about with the whole choose the game you want to play and stick with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big theme of just your 20s in general. And also, the first 20 years of your life as well. But okay, I mean, I'll go to my third one now. So my third one's actually just a book title. I didn't have like a quote with it or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever heard of Never Finished by David Goggins? You can very intuitively sense what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, knowing Goggins and knowing.
It's pretty much, okay, wrote this book about all of like the resume of successes that he's had. Running 100-mile, 200-mile races, being a Navy SEAL, being an Army Ranger, all of these just, oh my God, you're a beast accomplishments, right? And now the book Never Finished is all about, okay, I did all those things, but okay, don't lay off the gas now just because you think that you're some badass or whatever it may be. And in some ways, I could see that with myself. I actually think the most disciplined I've ever been was my freshman year of high school. My freshman year of high school, I mean, I've told you stories about this. I would wake up at 5:30, get a lift in, go to school. All throughout my classes, I'm either paying attention or I'm doing homework for my other classes. I'd get out, like, this is like not a joke. Like, I'd run like 2 miles, go to baseball practice, get home, finish up my homework, go to sleep. I would be studying for tests. I'd be going through Quizlet, like the study flashcards, while my mom was driving me home from school every day. And that was the most, and I was reading Can't Hurt Me at the time, which was kind of funny, but that was the most disciplined that I've ever been. I think my screen time was like 40 minutes a day at the time, which was...
That's insane.
Yeah. And then I just look at stuff like that now, and I look at my screen time now, I'm like, damn, like 2-3 hours, bro. Like, you said that at this age, you were going to like accomplish all these amazing things. And that's not to discredit some of the things that I've done. But in some ways, I feel like I have gotten off the gas a little. And maybe my foot was too far on the gas back then. Maybe that wasn't healthy, right? But it's just like, okay, Austin, just don't let like life like lullaby you, you know? Like, don't get lullabied by your environment around you. Keep a lot of those habits that you had when you were younger. Get your screen time back down. Get your sleep schedule back together like it was freshman year. Go to the sauna more like you were freshman year. Don't think because you've accomplished these things in the past that you are just that you, because it's not you. You're ever changing, you know? And I think that that's something that I want to reinforce to myself this semester, is really get back to the old Austin in some ways.
I mean, this is just a curiosity question. Were you suffering from like burnout, you think? Is it like, did you feel that after you kind of like laid off the gas a little, like that was a lot? Or were you just like locked in?
I mean, like the reason why I stopped going that hard.
Yeah, like why'd you stop?
Summer hit.
Okay.
And then that lack of routine. That was the spring of my freshman year of high school. And then once summer hits or any break hits, it's so hard to maintain it.
Yeah.
I think that that's the biggest reason why. But then a year later, I would think about it. I'm like, that was too much. I thought that it was too much. And looking back, it probably was too much. I was working very hard, but how much was I actually getting done? But it's just little things that I want to take from it. I don't want to become that person again. I want to take some of the things that I used to do as that person and implement them back in my life.
Yeah. Step on the gas a little harder this year. Yeah.
Well, I believe at this point we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
This was a good time. I'm looking forward to listening to this one back. I think this one more than other ones was, I mean, shorter, but also like because we had prepared more value, like packed into it. It's also so cold in here, bro.
Yeah.
I am freezing. So for those of you guys listening, if my voice is a little bit like, you know, that's why. But yes, so I mean, usually say thank you to you guys. So thank you, sir. Enjoyed this, and for all of you guys listening, have a great rest of your day, night, whatever it may be. And yeah, also last thing I'll say though is when we're at home or whenever we're recording guests or like recording episodes, we see the number of people that listen, but like we don't know who they are. Like in a lot of ways, it could just seem like we're shouting to the abyss, right? So if anybody has any thoughts of like, hey, like I like this part, I think you guys could have done better here, or even just reaching out for any conversation, like we would love that, and we'd love to like
send us a DM.
Yeah, whatever it may be, right? So yeah, just want to throw that out there, an open invitation to conversation. But yeah, thank you. Everybody have a great rest of your day, night, whatever it may be. Overdue out.